So just to start off, only Mr. Ferrer is still standing up there. Does anybody have any questions? First to the board, anybody have any questions regarding the budget presentation? Ms. Martinez?
Ms. Raven, I have one question. Ms. Martinez got it.
Hi, Alex. Thank you for that. Just real quick, you said the state aid possibly will give this Thursday?
Correct. So the governor's budget address is tomorrow afternoon, and by statute, the state aid is supposed to be 48 hours. So Thursday, we'll be seeing that with the state aid.
Okay. And you'll update us on that?
Yes.
Okay. The extraordinary aid is, you had spoke about for special services, it's calculated per child, or you submit at the end how much we spent and overage in total, or it's calculated per child?
It's a little bit of both. So let me kind of speak to that. So in the springtime, these Perez and her team will compile a list of students that have received three basic titles within extraordinary aid. And I won't get too much into detail. Basically, in addition to students that are in district, students that are in private schools for disabled, and then other residential programs. So what the state basically says is that within those three categories, every student that exceeds that limit that the state sets, you can apply for a reimbursement for that expense. Once the cumulative application is submitted across all three of those categories, right, then basically the state applies a coefficient to that number, and that's the dollar that you actually get. The funds actually don't show up in the district until usually around August. So for the purposes of using it during the year, you can't. All you're going to do is submitting a claim to get reimbursed for the funds.
Okay. And then lastly, the transportation, I know you touched upon it. I missed what you said. Last year it was 22,000. This year is 108. If the price for the busing, subscription busing, is the same, why is that number so different?
So 2 years ago, when the transportation policy changed, we were kind of at the latter stage of the budget process, and at that point, I had already estimated around that $22,000 number. So I wanted to be conservative, just in the event that the number, the applications, we're able to fill the clouds, that kind of thing. So as a result of kind of seeing the process over the last year and a half, the number that I kind of estimated for this upcoming year is a little more in line with what we're seeing for subscription seats. And like I said, the application process is just got open this weekend, so it's a little early to kind of know for sure. But I estimate that we're going to have similar numbers, which usually are in the ballpark of around 400 or 500 students apply for subscription across all of the grade levels.
All right, thank you.
I'm not forgetting that.
I just wanted to follow up on the extraordinary aid. Now, extraordinary aid is, that's aid anything over 40,000, is that right?
So for category 1 and 2, it's 40,000, and category 3 is 55,000.
So it's got to be over 40,000 or 55,000 to even apply for the extraordinary.
Correct. And that assumes that you didn't apply that student for the purposes of the IDEA, which is federal funding, and constantly was able to apply double dip.
And typically, except for last year, we were not reimbursed dollar for dollar. It was more about 40% on the dollar.
I agree with that. Both my time as school police administrator at Mattawan and South Plainfield, as well as my time as a regional, I've never seen that be done.
And last year, it increased to about 60%.
I don't have the number in front of me, but the number fluctuates around that 60, 68% every year.
And just since we still have some people out in the public, I know there is a petition going around on Facebook started by some legislators regarding calling for 100% funding of extraordinary aid. So if anybody is encouraged to look at that, sign it, and try and advocate for 100% reimbursement. Mrs. Smolin, sorry.
I just have a question on the tuition. I know you had touched upon it, but, so we had a preschool program this year, but it's showing as $0. Is that because it was based on the initial estimate?
So similar to the transportation and subscription busing estimate, last year around the time, the district was well into the process of the PEA funding. And we had, by all measures, we had a pretty good idea of whether we were going to be not just considered for the application process, especially receive some funds. And what that basically means is that had we received PEA funded, the students that we would be getting tuition dollars from parents for that same service, now it's basically get picked up by the state. So from a cost, from a revenue standpoint, it was going to be fairly revenue neutral. In that instead of showing up as a revenue under tuition, it was just going to show up as revenue in Fund 20 as a grant. Okay, so for the most part, operation wouldn't have changed that much. Obviously, we would have liked to see more students in the classroom as part of their education. But as a result of us not getting the PEA funding, we had to go back, collect tuition from the parents, and then consequently that kind of transfer. So for this upcoming year, my recommendation is to take kind of the opposite approach, is to continue the tuition based at the parental level, and if we become eligible for the PEA application process, we'll definitely consider in terms of applying for it. But at this point, like I said before, the timing of these kinds of programs and seeing things, seeing the keys over the last couple of years, great initiative, but it typically doesn't get decided in January until the budget gets passed in July. So as a result of that, now districts are kind of in a scramble to try to kind of get those initiatives off the ground. So I'm just, that's why that number has changed.
Thank you.
Ms. Whalen, do you have a question?
Just a question about the fund balance, and you touched on the reserve accounts. Can you just go over again those 3 reserve accounts? Because then I know you mentioned about the capital reserve withdrawal that's going to possibly take place. So those 3 reserve accounts, can you explain them?
So let me start with the easiest one and most restricted one, which is emergency reserve. The emergency reserve, the intent of the emergency reserve for one that passed was to allow districts to put away money for mid-year health benefits increases. The district currently operates on a July to June cycle, so likelihood of ever seeing a mid-year health benefits increase is not very high. So as a result of that, a couple of years ago, the state realized that not a lot of districts had put money away in this reserve account, almost like a rainy day fund for this purpose, but not a lot of districts were able to get access to that money. So as a result of some other legislation that took place in Trenton and just in general having to do with security initiatives, what happened was that the BOE basically allowed districts now to gain access to those funds, not just for the health benefits component, which was initially the purpose of it, but also for security purposes. So over the course of the last few years, we've been drawing down some money to the point where we're doing security purposes. So that's emergency reserve. Maintenance reserve, this specifically ties to our M1. So the board will be familiar with that term because it's a maintenance plan that gets reviewed and approved by the board. Mr. Nasser sent it to Mike and I, and we recommend it, and that takes into consideration what the district expects to use maintenance dollars for by law. Okay, so consequently, the maintenance reserve is to be used solely for that purpose. There's a calculation that is generated from the budget that pretty much says if the district has X number of dollars maintenance can be scheduled to be done at any given time, you can only have $1 number of dollars of maintenance reserve. And then you can move money in and out of that reserve account for that purpose as you need to. Capital reserve.
Wait a second, so maintenance reserve, give me an example of what's considered maintenance
So
that you go to that fund for.
fair. So specifically anything having to do with required maintenance, which is function 264. What I mean by that in terms of an example is if we needed to, let's say, replace a piece of floor in classroom. If we needed to, replace the windows. Anything that is, like I said, maintenance in nature. As simple as replacing filters for the HVAC, that all potentially be funded through maintenance reserve. And once again, it comes back to where dollars are being spent, right? So dollars spent in maintenance items, and we potentially have that reserve. And usually we have in excess of that $900,000 of maintenance cost anyway, so it just helps us kind of keep more dollars in the budget for educational purposes by taking that control out of the maintenance reserve every year. And like I said before, for the most part, as long as we're able to regenerate that from year to year, we're in good shape, right? The issue becomes that, over the course of a few years, we're not able to generate enough of the cap. So in terms of capital reserve, this is the one that is probably the least restricted. And what I mean by that is the district has a long-range facility plan. The long-range facility plan is basically a list of initiatives the district has. So, turf, the list of turf, track, roof, parking lots, those are the kinds of items that you have on a long-range facility plan. And the long-range facility plan is a document that is inclusive of all districts' buildings. So every district, every building kind of have different needs. That makes sense, right? So what that means is that on any given year, if the district has certain projects they want to get done that come from that list of the long-range facility plan, then you would go to the capital reserve, withdraw dollars specifically for those purposes. And one of the conditions is that if you budget, let's say, $2 million, right? So using the example that I had during the presentation to say, hey, of that $2 million, probably looking somewhere in the ballpark of 1.5 for the gym floor at the middle school, the track reserve. So let's say that number comes back less than $1.5 million. Let's say that comes back at 1.2. At the end of the year, the auditor is going to come back to us and say, hey, how much did you spend? And we're going to say, let's say 1.2. Okay, that $300,000 that you withdrew from capital reserve has to go back to capital reserve. You can't use it to support any other part of the budget. So as a result of that, like I said, it's a little more inclusive because the district will always have capital improvement projects that's a reality. Whether it be your building wing, replacing track, there's always going to be something. So as a result of that, it allows you to have the most dollars deposited in the capital reserve account, but at the same time, you've got to be responsible for that, because the more money you deposit in there, that means that there's less money that goes to the maintenance reserve or goes to the storage operation. So usually, especially for the board members, usually leading up to the meeting in May and then ultimately in June, we'll have this conversation, basically say, hey, in the surplus calculation standpoint, this is where we think we can land. As a result of that, my recommendation is we deposit up to X in the capital reserve, up to Y in the maintenance reserve, and so on. And then ultimately, when we wrap up our audit in August, if we hit those marks, then at least I guess the money accounted for and put away for those purposes. So I hope you have answers.
Thank you.
Does anybody else on the board have questions regarding the budget? Does anybody from the public have questions concerning the budget? Presentation, I should say. Moving now to our curriculum presentation. I'm just going to start off by saying I am, given the current climate that it seems that the nation is in, with increased hostility towards people for one reason or another, whether it's religion, race, or otherwise, knowing the strides that this district has made in the last few years of equity and mutual respect, to watch you guys work and see how you put this together is amazing. I think it can only do good things for our district and the state in general. So I'm happy to see how the presentation's going to go. I know for me, when I was growing up, it was Little House on the Prairie and watching Mary go blind and then realizing how and what she could accomplish, because of course Mary was reopening at the time. But bringing it down to kids, and you can do this using real life examples and showing that where people may have their differences, they're really all the same, it's just really different strengths. So thank you for the work that you're doing to include it. With that, does anybody have any questions or comments concerning the curriculum?
Just a quick question. Because you mentioned, we saw that in the high school now they have the race, class, gender elective, and it was mentioned that you're going to bring it into math, right, as an elective? So does that mean it would, an elective, so that's part of like the choice, like instead of chorus and band or like Italian, what is that?
Yeah, so like, I mean, the students would get to opt for that. They could take band, they could take chorus. Right now, it's something that we're just planning. Right now, we're in talks on it. It's nothing that's been developed yet, but it makes sense. So we have a bridge of halfway from the middle school to the high school as we're trying to do with the academy. So obviously the content would be modified accordingly, but the goal is to start having some of those conversations at the middle school level, and then they would filter up to the high school. So it would be an elective course. Students would make the decision to sign up for that course. That's the same way as the high school.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, John. So I think you might have answered this, but I just want to verify. So it's not a particular subject that this is going to be in. It's going to be pieced throughout different courses. Okay. And who's doing all? Okay. Who wrote the curriculum for us to even put together for our kids?
So right now, there's no curriculum written. All I'm doing right now is working with the Monmouth County Curriculum Consortium to put together a crosswalk document that would say where does it make sense and where is it appropriate in the existing curriculum to infuse the contributions, political, social, economic, of persons with disabilities and LGBTQ.
But who's got the list of all of these people that have accomplished, like how, there's, you know what I'm trying to say?
So that's
There's so
what-
much information, who's putting all that together to us even infuse?
So the Monmouth County Curriculum Consortium, that's the goal of that group, is to come together, because every school district is essentially doing the same thing. So rather than every school district doing that same work individually, bringing the curriculum directors and teachers together to a work session to identify what are you currently teaching in social studies. Most of them typically have the same course, studying social studies and math, and it helps. Some areas run themselves more naturally than others. And then to start infusing, well, who are those contributors in political and social? That still needs to be decided upon. So we would go through, there's obviously a number that were highlighted tonight, but then it's then deciding, well, where does that fall into mathematics? So it's a mathematician or a historian or an artist or an actor, whoever that is, we would come together and say this would be someone that makes sense to highlight given the topics and the content that we're already teaching.
Okay, that makes sense. So once we've identified what we need to add, what does that look like from a teacher standpoint? What do they get in front of them? Because you said we're not buying new curriculum, we're just infusing. So what is it going to look like in front of the teachers if they're not getting anything new? How are they going to know where to infuse what and when?
So part of the work will be to identify in that crosswalk document what specific lessons. So within 8th grade history lesson, where would it make sense to infuse information about, say, Harveyville and the gay rights movement? That might be an important part of history that maybe that individual wasn't highlighted and recognized, that would be where it's infused. So instead of using, X person to talk about history of, whether it's Black history, we would make sure that we're also including history on, I'm using that as an example, the gay rights movement and Harveyville. So in that lesson, that would be the example they would use to illustrate another contributor of social history. In politics, it could be someone else from politics that we may say, from the political climate that we currently have now or historically.
And so they would actually get something tangible, a handout, like how does that work?
We'll probably embed like within that lesson, so within that lesson plan that they would develop, they would use that as an example. So when they get to that particular, part of the lesson, they would have, whether it's in the lesson plan or in that crosswalk document, to say, this would be an example of who you need to use that.
Thank you.
Just to add, Ms. Martinez, a lot of this work includes the teaching staff. So the teaching staff are not surprised when there are updates with the curriculum, and the resources that they're able to utilize in regards to the lessons in the classroom. So the teaching, we know that the teaching staff have to feel comfortable and know the material as well, because if they're presenting in front of students and the students have questions, okay, can you tell me more information about this particular person? They need to build their background knowledge as well. So it'll come through professional development with the teaching staff as well at each of the schools, which is an important piece. We didn't touch upon that in the presentation, but that we know that that's something that we have to do in terms of a rollout, whether we, just as we would with any other revisions that we do with curriculum writing program. And the other piece, when you talk, where are we getting those pictures and resources? There has been a ton of research already done, and where the work to pull that information, where we can include it in the classroom, it's already done. So we're just utilizing the resources and some of the research that has already been done.
Just a follow-up, that's what I was trying to get at as far as the PD. That we're going to make sure that there's PD prior to this coming down. And when are we looking to start this? So
It's mandated for next start.
for next coming season. Okay. Thank you.
So ideally, the PD and the work will be done now and working into the summer.
Those teachers will be involved in the process of doing all that enforcement sort of thing. Those teachers are involved in kind of identifying that they are going to.
Anybody else?
I just want to commend Ms. Perez and Mr. Bombardier, because, you hear these things on the news now and in social media about the LGBTQ curriculum, and there's a lot of different responses out there. But the way they presented the information tonight, and the way they gave examples of people that you never would have known existed, that can only enhance the curriculum that already exists, to give the students, more knowledge of just people in general that were part of those, experiments and things that change our society. So I think it's a great job. Good.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board on the curriculum presentation? Are there any comments or questions from the public on the curriculum presentation? Okay. Should anything else? No. So we're going back into the minutes. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes from the reorganization meeting on January 6, 2020, committee of the whole minutes, January 13th, 2020, as well as the executive session minutes from January 13th, 2020, and then last but not least, regular action minutes from January 27th, as well as the executive session meeting from January 27, 2020. Can I have a motion to accept those? Can I have a second?
Second.
You want to take a vote on that?
Ms. Rahern? Yes. Ms. Escalon?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Monson?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Reed?
Yep.
Thank you.
So moving now to the board president's report. First, I want to thank everybody on this board for the professionalism and the responsible way in which we all address the things that were happening this week as board members. It is, and so the public is aware, this board values this safety of our students as top priority. Many of us on the board have kids in this district, in the schools, It is not something that we will look at lightly in any respect. We have, in the past 5 years, as touched on before, we have really improved things in this district in regards to equity, addressing anti-bullying programs. We have instituted parent nights, the last one being a bias presentation, that was anti-bias presentation, that was offered to the parents, and unfortunately, some of these times we just really don't get the parents to come out. I know that we all work and we have busy lives, but it's important that the district and the parents work as a team, that we work together, because I think our priorities are really the same, which is the safety of our kids and the high education of our kids. It's not easy sitting up here knowing how it feels to have a kid in the district and being concerned about things, but the way that the police departments and central staff and Dr. Micah and his team handle everything is without a doubt secure and safe and very attentive to detail with the safety of our kids in mind. So I just really want to thank the board. A lot of times it's not easy being in this seat, and I really appreciate how everybody carried themselves. Some of, on what I would consider a very happy note, some of the things that we have, that we get to see as board members is when we are able to change and make a policy better, not necessarily always perfect, but we make it better. Today, or Sunday, when I saw that the transportation applications were coming up in February, that has been a massive change and really positive. So just to reiterate those dates, and the emails have gone out, the applications were available, I believe, as of yesterday or today. March 11th, there's going to be a reminder that goes out, because on March 12th, those applications are due. By June 30th, it is our goal to have those parents notified as to transportation. That is a drastic improvement from where we've been in the past. Our hope is to go out to bid. So we hope to go out to bid in April. The expected price of the subscription busing would be $684, and that would be due around July 15th. So that is, to see some of the positive changes, and we will be looking at the next meeting to see if that has been policy to be tweaked, and if so, how we can tweak it. But we are constantly, as a board, striving to improve the policies here. So again, I just want to thank the board for everything that they have done in the last week, because I think it's really set an example for a district that works together as a team and a community. With that, and then we go to curriculum. Mr. Bombardier, can you take us through curriculum and instruction?
Sure. Beginning with Part A, travel, we have one staff member going to the Monmouth County School Counselors Association workshop, one staff member going to the New Jersey DOE ESEA consultation workshop, one staff member going to the New Jersey Association of School Business Officials workshop, one staff member going to the New Jersey School Building and Grounds Conference and Expo, two staff members going to the Imagine Learning Partnership Forum, and that is through our partnership with Imagine Learning, which is an online program that we currently use for our English language learners, and they are covering all of the fees for that trip. The two staff members going to the Tools of the Mind 2020 Communities of Practice event, and 7 staff members going to the NJTSOL Equity for Language Learners Conference that is covered through Title III grant funds. Moving on to Part B of the curriculum instruction agenda, there's been an addition since the COW. Item number 2 is asking the board to approve and accept the donation from Real-Time Information Technology, Real-Time is our student information system, in the amount of $700, and a donation from Imagine Learning in the amount of $350 for staff breakfast and refreshments on the March 13, 2020 District In-Service Day. And that is all for curriculum and instruction.
Can I have a motion and a second to accept the curriculum and instruction agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Does anybody have any questions or comments concerning the curriculum and instruction agenda? Seeing none, Ms. Perez, could you take us through special services, please?
Good evening. Under Special Services in red, under item number 1 on page 1 of 2, we're adding Speech Academy to conduct speech therapy. The hourly rate is listed with the effective dates. This is just to provide additional options and providers for services for our special ed students. On page 2 of 2, under item number 4, there was an addition. We're asking for board approval for bedside instruction for the following student attending Keys Academy with the provider listed as well as the cost and the effective dates. That concludes special services.
Can I get a motion and a second to accept the special services agenda?
Motion.
I'll second.
Is there any questions or comments concerning the special services agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I just have one question, Ms. President. Ms. President, the speech therapy, this is in addition to the speech therapist that we have in-house, or this is, we don't and we send out? How does that work?
We typically approve the providers. Usually we do it during the summer, but then sometimes we need to additional providers when staff are out on leave. So we have some current staff members going out on maternity leave, so it allows some flexibility to contract them.
And lastly, if a child needs speech, is that something that's not covered through the personal health insurance of the child, through the parent? How does that work?
So some, depending on the parent's insurance, some continue to get insurance, speech therapy through insurance, in addition to if they're eligible through the IEP process and evaluation process, if they make it at school as well.
So it really just depends on insurance, depending on when any of us go anywhere for different specialties?
Correct.
Okay, so if not, it is the responsibility of the district,
Yes,
obviously.
there has to be a demonstrated need,
Right.
demonstrating that it's affecting them, their educational performance.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions on the special services curriculum? Seeing none, Mr. Liebman, I think that is you personnel, please.
Thank you, good evening. Under Section A, resignations and retirements, there are no additions from the CAL. Under Section B, leave of absence, we have one amended date on page 1. We have 3 additional names listed on page 2. Under Section C, appointments, number 1, appointments, Mr. Farrar, I'd like to have read into the minutes. It's not in red, but there's an amendment. For Jamie Roche, the salary reads as $53,144 even. It should be $53,144.90. Item number 2, home instruction for 2019-2020 school year. 2 additional students have been listed, and that can be found on page 3 of 7. Item number 4, college student observers for the 2019-2020 school year. We have 1 additional student observer who will be doing early field placement in the spring of 2020. Item number 5, extracurricular activities for the 2019-2020 school year. We have 1 name listed for athletic activities for boys tennis, and we have 2 names listed under non-athletic activities both at the high school. Item number 6, volunteers, no additional names. Item number 7, staff array changes for the 19-20 school year. We have 1 staff member listed for a location change. We have 1 staff member listed for an assignment change, and then the remaining names are overload assignments, which are on the bottom of page 5 of 7 and conclude on the top of page 6 of 7. No changes to item number 8. Item number 9, Professional Development Day. This is call for proposals for the March 13th District Professional Development Day. The names as listed, which are on page 6 of 7, and conclude on the top of page 7 of 7. Under item 10, number 1, HIB report. This is the HIB report that was presented to the board in executive session on February 10th. Item number 2, 2 staff members for speech and debate chaperones with their hourly rates as listed. Item number 3, administrative contracts for the 2020-2021 school year. We have items A, B, and C. These are amended contracts for the respective employees. Item number D, we recommended 1 employee for administrative leave with pay. That concludes the personnel agenda.
Can I get a motion and a second to accept the personnel agenda?
Make a motion.
Anybody have any questions, comments regarding personnel? Ms. Whalen?
Just wondering, with the softball, baseball season coming upon us, when does the process start to find coaches for the softball and assistant coach for baseball?
There was a resignation, that's why we're seeing it right now.
Okay, then we'll
Well,
start the process.
in theory, it can happen at any time if there's a resignation, but
Okay.
under normal circumstances, they would already be in place by now, but since we had the resignation, it's happened.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or comments concerning the personnel agenda? Okay, Mr. Lee, can you take us to policy, please?
Thank you. We do have one recommendation to the board. It is Regulation 5460, high school graduation, option 2. This is for second reading and adoption for this evening. That concludes the policy agenda.
Can I get a motion and a second to accept the policy agenda? Second?
I'll second.
I have a comment, so I'll start. Mrs. Scully, I just want to thank you for the work that you did in your comments. I thought that they were appropriate, and I know that that took some time, so thank you. Anybody else have any comments or questions concerning policy? Seeing none, Mr. Ferreira, take us through finance, sir.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of changes since the previous full meeting, on page 2 of 3, number 8, this is disposition of property for some equipment, primarily IT. And then number 9, this was a matter that was discussed on the board in terms of getting the architect and the engineer to start working on the specifications for the bid package for those 2 projects. And that concludes finance.
Can I get a motion and a second to accept the finance agenda?
Second.
Any questions or comments concerning finance agenda?
Yes, I have one question. Regarding I understand it's an approved provider that we use. Does that cost then take us all the way through up to the bid proposal? So the drawings, the design, just want to confirm it does.
Yes, so the district on an annual basis approves professional services, most notably architect, engineers, attorneys, auditors. So these don't necessarily require a formal bid process and potentially be approved from on an ongoing year-to-year kind of deployment by the board. So when the recommendation kind of goes out and then those services are approved, you usually have a not to exceed amount. And typically those are going to be just like the routine processes and projects that those professionals might have during the course of the year. This would be something that is going to be outside of that typical scope for the budget amount. So as a result of that, that's why we're making the recommendation. Because technically, it's going to be expensive. The board is going to incur partially this year and partially next year, right? But yes, in terms of your question and some of how it gets through, the architect is responsible for the process all the way, even past the bid proposal. Once they're actually doing, there is a component having to do with the clerk of the works, the project manager, that the architect also provides as a result of this.
Any other, Ms. Osborne?
On number 8, sale and disposal of assets, just quickly, because I understand that this is a public sale, but without advertisement, how does the school figure out who to sell these items to and the cost?
So the board has a policy relating to disposition of property. And depending on how the funds were purchased to begin with, whether it be local, state dollars, or federal dollars, there is a process. Most common, the process is that the information pertaining to the property gets posted on the district's website. It gets posted through the different associations the district has, primarily the New Jersey school business officials, to make the items available to other school districts in the event that they're looking for it. We're actually, myself and Ms. Lagarena, the assistant PA, we're actually looking at implementing another phase, which makes that available also to the general public on almost like an online auction site kind of situation. And that way, it kind of increases the district's chance to maximize or getting the value for that property. In many cases, not to say with this equipment specifically, but in many cases, if it's like, desktops that are 7, 8, 9 years old, there's not going to be a lot of value there. So we still have to go through the process, but we don't get that kind of hit on the items.
Okay, I understand that. So you're stating that if we receive the grant for, let's say, the wrestling mat, we in turn have to repay the money when we sell the mat?
No. So actually, that actually is covered through another part of the board policy as it pertains to donations. So once a district accepts a donation, regardless of where the donation came from, it becomes the district's property. And consequently, the district will utilize it, as it sees fit. And consequently, because the district is a public entity, you try to maximize that use. But there are times that, in this case, I believe the mats that are in question was the middle school, which basically have, well exceeded their lifespan. So it's a situation where there's not going to be a lot of use for it. There are times that if the item has a value, not necessarily monetary value, but some kind of value to the community, you might kind of be able to partner up with a member of the community in another group to try to kind of have them take that on. Unfortunately, this is not one of those situations.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions concerning the finances? Seeing none, are there any public comments relating to any agenda items? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Ferrer, can you take us through our votes?
Okay, starting off with the curriculum instruction. Ms. Raher?
Yes.
Ms. Haskoli?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Monson?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yes.
Ms. Valen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Special services. Ms. Raher?
Yes.
Ms. Haskoli?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Monson?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Personnel with the slight edits as presented by Mr. Ligon. Ms. Raher?
Yes.
Ms. Haskoli?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Monson?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Thank you. Policy, Ms. Raher?
Yes.
Ms. Haskoli?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Monson?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Finally, Finance, Ms. Raher?
Yes.
Ms. Haskoli?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Monson?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yes.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to unfinished business, I had sent an email out to the board regarding food services and the contract that is up. The policies have gone out. I am ecstatic to see as many people volunteered as they did, so I appreciate that. We can only have 3, and then Ms. Moore and myself would float in every now and then as alternates. So I know Ms. Martinez had volunteered
I know Mr. Montone actually was first in, so he volunteered. And Ms. Ascoli had, I believe, offered her time as well as Ms. Whalen. So what I would propose to do, just going in terms of order of operation, who acts first, if there's no objection to that, that would be Mr. Montone, Ms. Ascoli, and Ms. Martinez. And then Ms. Ward, I would float in sort of an alternate. What I'd like to do is set a meeting before we leave. So within the next 2 weeks, that we can meet, get together. We can be told what the timeline is for Mr. Ferreira, for those board members who don't know sort of the history, as well as some of the recon I did last year and pending problems. I would do that. And then Ms. Whalen, if we have room for an alternate, I would look to grab you, if that's okay. Does anybody else have any unfinished business? Okay, seeing none. Mrs. Scully, I believe you had some new business you wanted to address.
Yes, I had a chance to attend the Madeline Aberdeen Educational Foundation monthly meeting, and they had asked if we could include them in the June 15th board meeting. They'd like to recognize the grant recipients this year and allow them to present their projects. They said they have about 10 recipients, or they have 10 grants. So they'd like to see if they could join that meeting. And then also, they wanted to make everyone aware that the Cambridge preschool classrooms, every classroom now has a beatbox, which is a STEAM-based learning kit. They're working on getting a second in the classrooms as well, and pictures are on the website.
Please let them know at the next meeting. We certainly appreciate everything that they've been doing in terms of the grants. Because it's great to come to these board meetings and see whether it's a slideshow or voting last week. It's great to see. Does anybody else have any other new business?
Myself and Ms. Whalen, we attended the family night over at Lloyd Road, which was very nice. I enjoyed it as well as my children, and of course they're all different ages. The purpose of it was to interact with different families, which was great. The games were very intricate as far as entertaining. It kept everybody focused, and we moved around a little bit crazy, but it was good. There was a lot of food there. I expressed to Mr. Bombardier my one little pet peeve I had, but other than that, everything was great there. Everybody was, the kids really enjoyed it. It was a really good time, and they gave us packets so we could take the games home and be able to play those games at that time. So,
Get off social media.
yes.
Just to follow up on that, I know my daughter volunteered at it, and she was blown away, and I said, why didn't we do things like that? So because you were calling the things. But the work you guys do after hours is extraordinary, and very appreciated, because I know they're able to do it, so thank you. Does anybody else have any new business? Seeing none, are there any public comments relating to any additional matters that are not on the agenda?
Hi. Carolina Carvalho, 15 Icon Lane, Aberdeen. I'm a resident of Aberdeen. I've also been an instructional assistant in our district for over 10 years. I spoke before the board around 2 years ago about the value of district employees in education support professional positions when we were looking to outsource our instructional assistants. My question tonight is in regards to a flyer that is on the district website under the personnel section, substitute positions available. It's an ESS flyer which states that the Madeline Aberdeen Regional School District is hiring permanent aides. Is the position of the district now heading back to hiring ESPs that are not district employees? And if there's a need for a permanent instructional assistant, why are we not hiring them to the district?
So thank you. The primary purpose of that flyer is really to attract substitute teachers first and foremost. As many of us know, we've had conversations about filling those particular roles on a day-to-day basis. All that's done through ESS, which is the third party that provides substitute teachers. As far as hiring instructional aid substitutes, long-term instructional aid support, that's a service that is provided to us by this third party. We primarily use them for the day-to-day substitutes and the long-term classroom substitutes, just because there's a need for it.
Again, if there's a need for it, I work in a special ed classroom that has 2 permanent the entire year, substitute assistants. Why aren't they hired through the district?
So again, we try to fill the vacancies the best we can. We look at all the opportunities that are available to us. And again, what we try to do is what's best for our students and then for our classrooms.
Okay, I understand that, but I feel that our special education students deserve staff that's fully trained and able to fully instruct, handle any behavioral issues, and able to fully engage in the classroom, the lunchroom, the bathroom, and the playground without the restrictions that are placed upon them by their company that they actually work for. So that's just my concern at this point that, you know, we're heading back to, I think if we did a staffing array for instructional assistants hired to the district employees versus ESS employees, it would be eye-opening that the ESS employees have steadily increased in the past years that are permanent, everyday permanent.
So if that's important feedback, what you're saying is important to us, and what we hear is more information that we can share as an admin cabinet, and we can speak out and more with that.
All right, thank you.
Are there any other questions concerning public comments relating to any additional matters? Seeing none, be it resolved that a closed session be convened for the purpose of discussing privacy, personnel, and legal matters. Subject matter of these discussions will be disclosed to the public when the reasonable confidentiality subsides. Although the board cannot guarantee that the length of executive session is estimated to be approximately 30 minutes, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and proceed with business. No action will take place. May I have a motion and a second to go to executive session?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. We are now in executive